All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Welcome to tonight's live stream here at the Exchange Live Sessions. We are very happy to be here tonight with you, live streaming all the way from North New Jersey, very close to to Manhattan, and we are happy tonight because we have a very special guest. Before I get to him, I'd like to just let you guys know about our social media handles where you can actually find out what is it that the Jazz Exchange is doing. You can go to our Instagram, and our Facebook, and especially our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is a very special space for us where we actually put the basically the result of efforts of our programs, such as our secret shows. You can see some past secret shows. We just had our last secret show last November with the great Jerome Jennings. We actually did it at this great space in New York City at the National Jazz Museum in Harlem. We were able to come in and have a live stream from there. If you were part of the audience members, it was a jam for sure. And so you can find it there. You can also find there some of our done projects of our remote productions where musicians. This is actually was a project that started because of COVID. So this is a way for us to actually give opportunities to musicians to record from home. This is our virtual jazz sessions, and you can also see all that stuff there. So make sure you tune in, and of course our website at TheJazzExchange.org. You can find more information about what we're doing. One of the programs we're pushing, and we're going to continue pushing because we think it's so important, is our education program. We are building it because is specifically supporting the new generation of musicians that really want to learn more about this music. This program we do it in collaboration with Jazz House Kids based in Montclair, New Jersey, and they give us scholarships. And then also with Esmar Group, who sponsors some of these kids to actually come all the way out here from the border of El Paso and Juarez, and they come out here for a couple weeks and they spend time with some of these amazing teachers from the whole New York City area. We want to make sure that we want to continue to do supporting some of the students. Fortunately, all the students that have been part of this, they're continue playing. A couple of them have been accepted to schools here in New York City. So if you want to join our efforts, make sure to go to our website and there's ways there that you can actually support some of the students. Now, we continue our Jazz Exchange Relief Fund. We want to thank all the people that has donated so far. It's been such a joy to collaborate with you guys and connect your donations with some of those musicians that really need this help during this times, especially. So if you wanna support us, you wanna continue supporting these musicians, go to GoFundMe, and you can see more or less what is it that we're doing, how are we connecting them. Up to now, what we're doing is really helping them through different programs that we have, especially some of the virtual jazz sessions where people still, musicians from home, they can just record and send their tracks. We know it's not the ideal way of performing jazz, and but it's definitely really expanding some of our skills as musicians. So make sure to join the efforts and join us for that. So especially today, guys, we are actually celebrating this month, Jazz Appreciation Month, and we want you to join us in celebrating this whole month, and how this music that was born here in America and has gone through all around the world is a type of music that we all enjoy so much, and we invite you to listen to some music. If you haven't listened to some jazz, is the right time to do it. If you're here joining us tonight, I'm pretty sure you have. If you haven't, you're about to experience some of the best music out in the industry, because we have a wonderful guest tonight that we're just so honored to have him. We admire him so much because of his playing, because of his mentoring, because of his teaching, and just his career is just such an example for a lot of inspiring jazz musicians too. So we want to welcome tonight Mr. Dave Stryker. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing good, Abel. Nice to see you. And Thank you for that introduction.
Oh, for sure. It's our pleasure here at the Jazz Exchange to have you. Thank you for making some time of your day. I know you're probably virtually teaching and virtually recording and doing all these things, right?
Yeah, I just got done teaching today at Indiana University.
Nice.
Been online all day. I teach at three universities at the moment: Montclair State in Montclair, New Jersey, at Rutgers,
Rutgers.
down in New Brunswick, and at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. So, uh, the last year, of course, it's all been online,
Yep.
and but in the fall, we're looking to get back to
In person.
teaching one on one. Yeah, playing music together.
Hey, that man, that's great to hear. I know, as a musician myself, and I teach a little bit. I've been hearing more and more about that. Right? It seems like we're all kind of gearing towards already just opening up, right, with the vaccine and just with the need of like just especially music wise being in person, right?
Yeah,
That's the
some schools have like in Indiana University, for instance, has continued to have social distance big band and
oh
social distance combos. But since I have to fly out there, I was only doing my lessons online. Montclair State also had in-person combos and
oh
big
cool.
bands, socially distanced. But yeah, there was a couple times when they had to because of
A case or something.
yeah, case which they had to just go back to online. But they like I said, we're keeping a positive attitude with the vaccine and everybody being careful that we can get back to some kind of normalcy
I
soon.
know that's
Yeah.
into some playing, right? I think we all musicians are so eager to
Yeah.
to go out to some jam sessions and throw a couple chords. That imagine now tenor players are notorious for taking uh 100 courses of on a jam session. Just you better watch out if you're comping behind a tenor player now that has been waiting a whole year to play. I can't
Really.
even imagine that. But
Yeah.
it's man, it's great to have you. You have some music that you picked for us, and we're so excited to listen to the stuff. You're such a an active musician. I remember first hearing from you. I mean, I remember hearing your music, and for me, honestly, it's a complete honor to really just have some time to talk to you and to hear the music that you. Because I remember just hearing you back in Texas, like, oh man, Dave Stryker, and then I met our friend in common, Sean Mahoney, and he told me, oh yeah, I know Dave Stryker, and I was like, wait, what? No, you don't know Dave Stryker. And then he was like, yeah, I do. I went to his house one time. He called me for a jam set. I was like, oh shoot. And from there I remember he mentioned that precisely following on what you were saying, that you teach in all these different schools. I remember saying that you actually had to travel like several times a month to go and teach in person, right? That was happening a lot, right?
Well, yeah, when I taught at IU, I would fly out there every other week and
Wow.
stay for a few days, and so that's what I've been doing the last 7 years out at Indiana. But I came to teaching later after being and I'm still obviously performing a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
I but I went many years as you know, had the great opportunity of being a sideman with some of the greats like Jack McDuff for a couple of years and Stanley Turngene for
Woo.
10 years. And then also having my own groups. And so it's a long story, but I now I'm happy to pass on, kind of what I was, some of the stuff I learned from getting to play with those people that are no longer with us.
Right.
So I enjoy passing on this because I love this music and I want it to continue, and I get inspired by my students too.
Oh man,
And I know
that's
that
good to
you're a
hear.
great teacher and player too.
Oh, oh,
And Candace, your wife, because I sat in one time at and heard you guys rehearsing a big band at the Jazz House Kids.
oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and I used to I was a part of the faculty, from the beginning, but I got a little busy, so now I just occasionally come in. I come in as a guest usually, one day out of the summer, and it's always
Nice.
great to see everybody, man. And
Y-
but yeah, you're doing a great job too, man.
Oh man, thank you. It's definitely I think my wife is the one that's always like, pushing me over the edge to do a lot of those things. No, I remember she mentioned that she had worked with you a little bit through Jazz House Kids, which is, shout out to Jazz House Kids. Is such a great organization that they're
Yeah.
doing so many things, and providing all these opportunities for the new generations. Man, I'm so interested in hearing some of your stories of how, like, when you move out here to New York, and I mean, like, the people that you said that you played with Stanley for 10 years, and Jack McDuff, like, could you talk a little bit more about some of those experiences with Stanley Turrentine, please?
Sure. Um, it was actually Stanley's birthday a few days ago, and today is Freddie Hubbard's birthday. So
That's right. Happy birthday
and
to
I was
Freddie.
my birthday was not a few weeks ago, so it seems like there's a lot of Aries jazz musicians. uh, so I came from Omaha, Nebraska originally, and that's pretty much straight in the middle of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Be the next big city after Chicago if you're heading west. And just like any town in this country, whether it's El Paso or Omaha, any town you go to, there's always going to be some good players that maybe never got famous or are well known, but they're like the cats in the town.
In the town. That's right.
And Omaha was no exception. So I started out as in the rock, playing rock and in bands and stuff, and then I went to a jam session at the Union Hall, and they were playing "Song from My Father." I remember,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd never really heard jazz, but I was like a pretty good rock player, and I got up there and started ripping my rock licks, and one of the jazz guys says, "Hey man, this is jazz. You can't be playing these rock licks." And I was like, "What?" So I went to the record store the next day and said, "Where's the jazz section on?" And I went back there, and somehow I walked out of there with Coltrane, My Favorite Things,
Ooh.
and George Benson, Beyond the Blue Horizon.
Oh.
Which it was prophetic, because those are still like two of my all-time favorite records.
Right.
They're sitting right over there. And so, I immediately, wow, that led to George, led to Wes, and Pat Martino, Grant Green, Jim Hall, all the guys. And Coltrane, led to Miles and McCoy Tyner and Sonny Rollins, and I just got hooked, like we all do, and loved the music. And so I started learning how to play from the records and learned standards, and a guy, local guy, Bobby Thompson, local tenor player, kind of took me under his wing and showed me. We went over to his house and showed me standards, showed me we wrote out the chord changes to tunes, and that's how I learned, and just from playing a lot of gigs and with my friends, playing a lot of jam sessions. And there was a great guitar player in Omaha named Billy Rogers, or from
Billy
Omaha
Rogers.
named Billy Rogers, who had left by that time, and he was a big inspiration to me. He was incredible player, and he was living in L.A. playing with the Crusaders at that time.
Oh, the Crusaders.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Jeez.
so I ended up moving out to L.A. There was another great organ player from Omaha out there named John Maller, also played piano. And so there was a lot of, I was inspired by a lot of those people. Plus, Victor Lewis, the great drummer,
Mm-hmm.
was, while I was in high school, had come to New York and was playing with Woody Shaw and was on that record, Sophisticated Giant with Dexter Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
And so that here I'm like in Omaha in high school. I'm saying, wow, somebody from Omaha is doing it on the top level. And then it was beautiful that when later I became friends with Victor, and we played quite a bit together, and he's recorded with me. And so yeah, there was a lot of inspiring people in my life early on, and I feel it's so important to young musicians, and I do my best to do that for them now if I can. And anyway, I moved to LA.
LA.
There's a long story, but I moved to LA, and there was a club, Jimmy Smith's Supper Club.
Mm.
He had a club out in the Valley, and I went there. They had a jam session on Mondays, and I was hanging out there a lot. And every Monday I was there, and everybody would come through. So I met Jack McDuff, I met Cedar Walton, I met all these guys that would just come to hang out at Jimmy Smith's. And Jack said to me, when you come to New York, look me up. So flash forward, I decided to
the next day.
I decided to come visit a buddy of mine, Jorge Nila, great tenor player from Omaha, who had moved to when I moved to LA. He went to New York, and so I went to visit him, and I was going to stay 2 weeks, and I ended up staying 4 months, and said, it was obvious, like
that was the place.
I had to be in New York. I mean, I remember sitting in there was a club called the Tin Palace, and I was there about 2:30 or 3 in the morning, and I'm listening to George Coleman, Harold Mayburn, Clint Houston on bass, and Al Foster, and they're burning on Cherokee, and it's just like, and I'm thinking, man, time to go. Time. I went back to L.A. and by the way, these were all driving.
Oh, this was in flying. This
driving, yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
I drove back to L.A. and played that summer in a top 40 band to save up money to move to New York. And I was playing with Curly Martin, and Curly Martin was a drummer from Omaha who was in L.A. And his son, who I don't think was even born yet, is Terrace Martin.
Oh, I see.
So that was Terrace's father is Curly Martin. Anyway, come back to end up moving to got a place in Spanish Harlem, 103rd Avenue, and I moved in 1980. I went up to Harlem and sat in with Jack McDuff at the Lickety Split, and ended up getting the gig with Jack for about 2 years, traveling in his van all over the country, playing joints, and it was a great experience. Jack had previously had Grant Green, George Benson, Pat Martino,
people that you listen to.
It was a hot seat for the guitar, and it was a great experience, to play. And Joe Dukes was the drummer, and when we weren't on the road, we had a steady 3-night-a-week gig at Dude's Lounge in Harlem, 149th and St. Nick. A lot of people would know it as St. Nick's Pub, but back then it was called Dude's Lounge. So we would, and the same thing would happen there. All the people would come through, like George Benson and Stanley Turrentine, Lou Donaldson, Lonnie Smith, and so that's where I first met Stanley. And when a friend of mine, Greg Scaff, was playing guitar with him, and Greg needed a sub, and so I subbed for Greg and Stanley's group, and Stanley liked what he heard and gave me the gig. So I ended up working with him for 10 years.
Yeah.
This was just amazing, to play with somebody on that level that's so, just so soulful, had their own sound, played from the heart.
That's right.
And
man, what
in the pocket.
In the pocket.
People loved Stanley Turrentine. People, wherever we played, people, he had his hits, and
yeah.
And he would play his tunes, and we would rock that. We would definitely rock the house. And So I ended up playing with him, up until his last week he was alive. We were playing at the Blue Note in New York, and played all week, and then Saturday night did his encore and said, "We'll see you tomorrow night, Stanley." And that
And
was it.
that was it.
He passed away in the hotel on 2000.
Wow, man. I
Yeah,
mean, I bet like all those stories of playing with these legends really form you as a musician, right? Like really helped you shaped your sound and man, I've definitely I can reflect on the point that where you started your story of like how and I find it very interesting how in the states there's almost like in I would say like in almost in every city there's a pocket of musicians that play this music and how that really it's almost like it's this music is infectious and it's like yeah, it might not be like the biggest clubs or whatever, but there's always such a group of people that really. I mean, I remember like you were mentioning even in El Paso. I remember just hearing some of the cats in town, and then as you continue your story, I find it like very reassuring of what would really this is of like an organic situation or creating relationships like the I mean we've all heard the hey man go if you go to New York try to look for me, you know what I mean, that phrase is and really just to fall through with it, it's like amazing, man, especially driving.
yeah. How did you end up here, Abel?
Well, actually that's I usually don't get questions asked, but I'll answer it. No, actually, well, I think I remember since I was, barely studying the horn, my teacher, his name's Fortunato Perez. He's from Mexico City. He studied with a German saxophone player and a Mexican uh, arranger composer. He moved to my city. He taught me my saxophone. Started getting me into saxophone. But he right at the top introduced me to Charlie Parker. I think that kind of changed my whole world, and I wanted to. I knew I wanted to come to New York. So when I finished my undergrad at El Paso, I think after teaching for a year, I decided to move here, and then I consulted with the wife, and she was like, "What are we gonna do?" And I was like, "Well, you're gonna sing, and I'm gonna play." So I ended up coming to William Patterson for my master's. They got me a really good deal, but man, it's a I mean to hear your stories of how like, hey, I'm just gonna go and sit in with Jack McDuff and go and sit in with Stanley Turrentine. Those things are, I mean, unfortunately, those things are not available anymore for musicians. Uh, I mean, to a certain extent, I know there's a couple venues where that can happen. What are your thoughts on that, man? Like, what do you think that's gonna? I mean, yeah, we know, obviously, I'm not even talking about COVID, but I know we should because that's really gonna change things up for the scene. But what are your thoughts on like on that organic way of getting into a professional life as a jazz musician? How are cats gonna do that? Like if maybe there's only one spot in town in New York, like Smalls or places like that. What are your thoughts in terms of how the music is gonna be affected or how cats can actually follow through with this, with the steps?
Well, the thing is, as you know, if you love music, that's just what you want to do, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it's you're gonna go for it. And like you did when you were young, younger, you decided, well, let me give it a shot. Go to New York and see what it's like. Um, yeah, the scene is different than it was when I was coming up, and when I was coming up, and it was different than it had been
True.
10 or 15 years before that. Things keep changing. The music will keep continue on because the music. There's so many great players coming up,
That's
um,
true.
and they need to figure out, ways of getting their music out there, and whether it's playing sessions, which is when I first came to New York, played all kinds of sessions. There was used to be lofts down like on 27th Street where we would have sessions all the time, and do little gigs. A place called the Star Cafe.
Mm.
We used to play on Sunday nights, and we do we do it out here in Jersey. Mike Lee, and I have ran some sessions out here.
That's right.
And, you just keep playing music, and you'll make it happen. You get together with your friends. I mean, I'm hearing stuff all the time. Just such great music coming out of the younger players, and so it's inspiring to me in that way. Yeah, things are it's tougher in certain ways. There is no Art Blakey's or Horace Silvers or Stanley Turrentines around anymore, but that's just what happens. So now, that's unfortunately guys
Right.
like myself are moving up into that.
That's what I was gonna say. Now there's Dave Strykers.
Well, there's still guys, the generation before me, of course, that are out there, George Cable.
Of course, yes.
So many greats like that, and Billy Hart, and
Billy
Victor
Hart.
Lewis, and many, many great players that you can still mentor with, and I've been lucky to have Billy Hart and Victor Lewis, as my drummers, and also, but I mean, I also have made it a point to try to use younger cats in my band. I've used Jared Gold now for over 10 years, about 16 years, and McClenty Hunter. Now these guys are, when they started with me, they were quite a bit younger, and they're still young, but it's nice to have a working band, and so McClenty and Jared have been my trio for Jared at least 16 years. I met him at Cecil's.
Wow, Cecil's, man.
Yeah, that was a really cool club run by Cecil Brooks.
Cecil Brooks, the drummer.
Right down the street from my house here in West Orange.
Man,
and
heard many stories about Cecil's, man, for sure. I'm sorry, I missed it for sure.
Yeah, no, that was a great hang. Yeah, it was a great hang. But things will continue, and once we get through this big bump in the road that we hit. But people are still writing music.
Yep.
We're still keeping it going, and starting to play some gigs. I'm playing some live streams. I'm playing tomorrow.
Oh, you're playing tomorrow?
Played at Smalls. I've played at a couple restaurants.
Nice.
Tomorrow I'm playing a thing for the Jazz Forum from Scott Robinson at his instrumentalist Scott Robinson. We're doing a live thing, and
oh, cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've been staying busy writing, teaching, and
Man, talking about good music, man. We have this video that you prepared for us, talking about multi-instrumentalist bands like the WDR Big Band. Man, what man, this video we're about to show is a video that Dave has prepared for us. You can check out on WDR Big Band's YouTube channel, but we have it prepared for you guys. This is one of your tunes. This is Blue Strut, right? Is this your tune, Dave?
Yes.
Great. Can you tell us about your experience with the band and Bob Mincer? Jesus.
Sure. So I've known Bob since I've been in New York, and we all know that he's one of the greatest of tenor players ever, and an incredible composer and arranger. He happens to be the chief conductor of the WDR Big Band,
Nice.
which is what they call a radio big band in Germany, Cologne, Germany. And there's actually 4 different radio orchestras: Frankfurt, Cologne. I can't think of all of them right now, but in Europe they have the government sponsors these radio big bands, and WDR has 2 symphony orchestras.
Wow.
And there's musicians that show up every day and go to work, and they basically bring in guests and perform their music, and then they broadcast it. And that's what people do for entertainment. They can listen to these shows, and they pay a small amount of taxes
to support these programs.
Yeah, and I believe, believe it or not, I mean, it was like $8 or something.
Wow.
Is all the people pay. But the fact that everybody is on board with that allows these, to have this beautiful opportunity. And so Bob had been done some tours with my trio with McClenny and Jared.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had this project called my 8-track project, where I've arranged tunes from the 70s that I grew up with, and kind of made them put my own stamp on them. And it's been very popular. And so I would play some of those tunes on gigs, and Bob, played some of those tunes, Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder and those kind of things. And he dug it and thought that would mean that this would be a great project for the WDR. I'll arrange some of your stuff. So he arranged like about 3 or 4 of those 8-track type tunes, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, and some different things. And also he arranged like 4 of my originals.
Nice.
And we did one of his. So in 2019, went over there for a week and just walked into this studio. This big, you'll see it in this video.
Yeah.
And they're rehearsing, and everything is recorded. It's also a recording studio, and there's 3 engineers in there.
Mm-hmm.
Taking care of business. And these are some of the best musicians anywhere. They're like sight reading this stuff down, and it's just incredible. So it was a great experience, man. And then we also did some gigs in Cologne, and even got on a bus and went and did some gigs.
I was just gonna ask about that. Is this a band that you tour, that they tour, or is this just like, because
they're mostly a radio orchestra, but they do go out and do
the thing.
They'll get in a bus and go out to different concert venues and stuff and do things.
Oh man, can we listen to this track? This is Blue Strut by Dave Stryker with Bob Mincer and the WDR Big Band. Hope you guys enjoy it. All right, man. What a jam! What a jam, Dave.
Thank you.
It seems like you're having a good time there.
Yeah, man, that was like the first or second, first. They didn't film everything. They just came in like one day, I think the second day, and filmed maybe that song. So I was really glad they did, though. We have one other. There's one other recording that the WDR did of Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On."
What's going on?
But I'm so glad to have that, and the record is called Blue Soul.
Blue Soul.
And when I obviously we were they recorded everything, every rehearsal, and so I said, man, I got to put this out, and I have my own label, so I worked it out with them, and it came out last year, and it did really well. It was like #1 for.
Oh wow! Wait a minute.
Radio.
So this is you put this out, not the big band.
Yeah, I put it out.
Oh
on my own label.
wow!
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Now, they played it on the WDR. They played it on their broadcast.
The broadcast
all over Germany, but we also did a concert in a theater or a little club in Cologne that was in the round. That was really cool. And they filmed that, and that also got played. So
that's cool.
Yeah. It was a great experience, man. And Bob Mincer is one of the baddest.
Yeah. We were just talking about that while we were checking out the video too. But you said that Bob actually toured with you, right? With your trio, with your organ trio.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, man.
That's really cool. And you were saying that he's one of the busiest cats that you've ever met. I can imagine.
He is. He runs the the jazz program at USC in California and LA. He's also a member of the Yellow Jackets. He also has his own quartet and his own big band, and he's also the chief conductor of the WDR big band. So
man,
the guy is he arranged these songs on the plane.
Wow!
Without a keyboard even.
What? This still happen? Does people do that?
Yeah, no, that's how he is.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my God, man, that's
he's heavy guy.
Do you go to school for that, or what? What do you?
Well, like I said, he of course went to school, but he also played with Thad Jones, Mel Lewis.
Thad Jones, that's right.
And learned from the best.
Yeah,
and man. Bob went through Buddy Rich's band. That's when I first met him in Omaha. Buddy Rich came through town, and Bob and John Burr were both in the band, and Bob started arranging for Buddy's band, and so now he's known as an arranger as well as great tenor player.
Man, that's you. I mean, I don't say it lightly, but you guys are like such an inspiration of musicians that have a established career, that have put in all the work and continuously keep finding ways to keep the music playing. I know we want to get to the music that you have prepared for us. This was so much fun to listen to this first track. We have our second one that is actually Prime, and this is a recording that's not out yet. Can you share a little bit about it yet?
Sure. We went in the studio. I was supposed to go do a concert in Miami at Miami-Dade College last year during the pandemic, and they because of the situation, they allowed me. I said, could I just record my concert here, and I'll send you. So what I said, well, how? So I recorded a studio called Trading Eights in Paramus, New Jersey.
Oh, nice!
And
Shout out.
I said, if I'm gonna go, in the studio. To me, the studio is like a sacred place. Like, if I'm going to go in the studio to film a concert, I'm just going to make a record, and we can film that, because that's how I don't want to go in the studio and not I'm serious when I walk in the door of a studio. So I ended up writing like 8 new songs, and my idea was that we were going to go in the studio. We had one rehearsal with me and Jared. and McClenty the Sunday before, and I said we're going to go in and we're going to do one take of each tune because we played together so much. We're just going to play one, and
In the
and he had cameras set up in the studio. We all had our own room in the studio. We could see each other, but since we were in our own room, we were able to not have the masks on when we played.
Oh, that's cool.
And we just put them on when we went in the control room or whatever. But yeah, so this record will be eventually. It's not only going to be a record, but it's all filmed too. And my
Nice.
son actually put the video together. My
Oh.
son, Matt, he lives in Austin. He's a filmmaker, and he edited this all together very nicely.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, this is a tune of mine called Prime. And it really shows off how smoking this Jared and McClenny are, man. I mean,
Man, I just met McClaney at Clemens with Peter, Lynn, and I. We have Yarber Entertainment. We also do some of this now with the pandemics. We've been doing some of this filming for the Jazz Institute at Rutgers, and he was there, man. I was like, ooh, he was actually playing with Danny Mixon's trio. That was smoking, man. Can't wait to check it out.
Check him out on this one.
Yeah, let's check out this is Prime by Dave Stryker from the album that's not out yet, but check it out. Back. Man, woo, burning, woo, man. It's
Yeah.
wow. Congratulations, man. What it was gonna be just a live stream thing, it turned out to be
Well, yeah.
such a
What
great thing.
happened? Yeah. So they were very happy with it, but it was it it could it'll be a record. But in the meantime, I had my most recent record is called Baker's Circle, and we had recorded that back in 2019. So I didn't want to like jump ahead of with even though that felt very fresh with um, that will come out sometime next year or whatever
Yeah.
the trio record. But this I didn't this record that was the same group with McClenny and Jared, but with a great tenor player named Walter Smith III,
Ooh.
who I had met originally because he was teaching for a couple of years at Indiana University, and
Oh, he's
so
not
I
there
got
anymore.
no he's running the woodwind department at Berkeley in Boston.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah, so he
cool.
took that job. So anyway, after he left, I said, let's go in the studio because we've been doing some gigs together, and so we made this record called Baker's Circle that is out right now, and it's doing well. I'm really super happy that all my records are getting a lot of radio play. Like this one is up at number 2 for a few weeks now, and
Man,
um,
it's awesome.
Emmett Cohen was at number 1 for. He wasn't going anywhere. It's
It
what
was
happens
in.
one of your former students is
That
like, I've known Emmett from, when he was like 13. Man,
wow.
what a great musician
Right, right.
he's turned out to be, right?
That's right, man. And
Another Montclair kid.
that's right.
So
That's
yeah,
and he's doing so good, man. His live streams on Mondays.
yeah.
I can't, man. I'm looking and I'm like 600, 800 people. I'm like, wow, that's super cool. He's doing so. Shout out to Emmett Cohen. Maybe we'll have him
Yeah.
also.
Anyway, so yeah, so this record, Baker's Circle.
Baker Circle
The name of the record comes from David Baker, the great educator
educator.
and musician. And I met David Baker when I went to a Jamie Aebersold workshop when I was about 18 or 17
Wow.
in Wichita, Kansas. And I went 2 years in a row. The second year, my combo teacher, believe it or not, was Joe Henderson.
Whoa!
Yeah.
What?
It was,
I mean,
it was
no.
amazing. It was amazing. And I talk about getting your mind blown. And so, but David Baker was there, and that's where I met him. And he's been in my corner ever since then. Very big supporter. And when Indiana University, when that opening came up for a jazz guitar professor there, he told them that he wanted me. So,
Oh man.
so when I would go out, when I was going out there, and he was getting up in years now, so I would see him standing outside in this. There's this little driveway where he would circular driveway where his wife would come pick him up in their van,
Mm-hmm.
and I think their license plate was Bebop or something like that. But it's funny. But I would see him standing there, and I said, we need to call that little area Baker Circle. We should name it after him. And then my started thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, that's a good song title. So I had the song title first, and then I wrote a tune, and then I decided to name the album that. And so that's the
Wow.
most recent record, and it's
And
we might play something from that.
right. So we have a couple of videos that there are some promo videos and just short videos, 1 minute. So snippets of I think the studio recording, if I'm not mistaken, right, when you guys
Yes.
were recording, and some photos and stuff. So since they're kind of short videos, we wanted to maybe you want to play them back to back, maybe. I
don't care. Whatever you think. Sure.
Because we
That's
have
fine.
the first one is inner city blues,
Yeah.
and so we'll play that one just so that the people that are out there listening, they can really target this. I mean, this is man, Walter Smith III. Shoot, man,
Yeah.
like swinging so hard. I've listened to a lot of his music, and it's so refreshing to hear him also like playing this stuff with you, man. It's so great.
He's such a great musician, and
Jeez.
it was fun to play with him.
Man,
I love
let's
the sound of guitar and tenor together.
Right. I love the melodies unison. I mean, the sound of guitar and tenor, man. It's in saxophone. Saxophone is
Well, guitar and altos is pretty cool too. I played with Steve Slagle for like 30 years. We had a group together, so he's another.
it's definitely a thing, man. It has its own sound for sure. I love it personally. So when we check out, this is a couple of promo videos from Baker Circle. Now if you're checking out this, the story behind Baker's Circle. Okay, so it's not just it's deep. So let's check out this couple of videos real quick. Man, I love it. Short, just get to the point. Go check out the album. It's in all the platforms. Is Baker's Circle. Now you know the story. And it's this was recorded in 2019, right, Dave?
Yeah,
Okay, and that was also at Trading Aids for the people out there that are trying to look for a good studio. Man,
that's right.
I'm considering that studio for sure. I've heard so much about it. I think the last thing I did in that area was at Tedesco, which is also a pretty cool studio
Another great
there.
studio. Sure.
Uh, and
I've done a
who's
bunch of records there too.
right? Who's the engineer there at Trading Aids? If you don't mind.
Chris Sulit.
Chris Solit. Okay, cool.
Hmm.
Man, sounds beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing those videos with us. I know you also have some more music prepared for us from some of the things that you did precisely from that session. We'll show it a little bit later, but let me ask you a couple questions regarding you as building your jazz career uh guitar, as a jazz guitarist. Could you share some light in the business side of things of you putting 30 records 30 albums out as a soloist?
Well,
That's amazing.
thanks. I've been very fortunate in that respect. I've been around a while too, so I know I look like I'm really a young man, but
Yeah, you look
looks
like
are
20 or something,
look.
right?
Thank you. Yeah, sure. Looks are deceiving, but I lived to tell about it so far. Uh, the bottom line is, as you know, Abel, is that you can't get around of is you got to be playing your ass off.
Right.
You have to do the work. Nothing else is gonna happen unless you love the music enough to put in all the time and shed.
Yeah.
Um, and it's we all know as musicians, it's work.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta. And so if you're going to music school, you better be in love with the music. And I tell my students, I say, it's you need to listen to a few things a lot instead of a lot of things a little.
Mm.
You need to zone in on whether you like Charlie Parker or Joe Henderson or Sonny Rollins or Wayne Shorter, and you got to narrow it down and just say I'm gonna check this cat out, and I'm talking about like finding one record, man, and
Yeah.
knowing that record or one song and knowing
One
that song.
song.
That's how you're gonna really get better at this music. You got to shed it, and the answers are all on the records.
Mm.
Anything you want to know, it's all on the records.
Yeah.
Um,
That's man.
whether it's comping, whether it's your time feel, whether it's harmonic stuff, whether it's sound. That's how this music has always been passed down. Wes Montgomery loved Charlie Christian, and George
Right.
Benson and loved, and Pat Martino loved Wes, and we all loved all of them, and it's just a continuing thing. So that's the first thing you have to do is you got to sit and with the records and learn how to play this music. You got to play. Like when I was coming up, we had sessions all the time. You
Mm-hmm.
got to make it happen. You can't just say, "Oh, there's nothing happening." In the
Right.
scene. It's you got to go to the session if Mike Lee or I are having a jam session. You got to go to that, but you also need to be organizing. If you're in a music school, man, you get the cats together and play, and write music and write a tune and have projects and play in other people's projects and try all kinds of different kinds of music and do any kind of gig that you can get your hand on.
Right.
So and get experience of playing music in front of people. And but once I did that, I was in New York, through the '80s, and I ended up I got a NEA grant, performance grant,
Nice.
and I said it was enough to go in the studio, and I called Billy Hart and Ron McClure and a piano player named Mark Copeland, and I'd written a bunch of music, and we went in and made a recording, and I made a whole bunch of cassettes, and I sent it to every label, and heard nothing, just like it was classic. And I was, at the time, I had the gig with Stanley, so we had gone to Tokyo with Stanley, and there was a club owner there that had a small label called Someday Records, and his club was called Someday, and his name was Shigenobu Momori, and he was I went to his club after we got in a taxi after playing with Stanley, and drove to his club, met him, gave him the cassette, and he loved it. And he said, I'll put it out. And so my first record, called First Strike, came out on a Japanese label.
Oh, you got the. Oh, I thought you were gonna pull out the cassette, man.
There it is.
That's wow.
Yeah,
That's really cool. That's the First
that's
Strike.
on a Japanese label. And then in the meantime, when I got back from Japan, I had a message, a letter. God, just show you how old I am, man. It was a letter.
It was not an email.
No email, Brett.
No email.
There was no cell phones. There was no email. Yeah, this is
no cell phones. What are you talking about?
I fell off my dinosaur when I was coming down here today. So anyway, where's the drum roll?
Man.
So it was. I got a letter in the mail, and it was Nils Winter from Steeplechase, which is a Danish label, and they had done all kinds of great records. Dexter Gordon and Chet Baker and on and on. And so he said, I like this, I want to put this out. And I was like, oh, great, because I had just sold it to the Japanese guy. I said, well, I actually sold this to a Japanese label, but why don't we do another one? So that's how I got my deal with Steeplechase.
Wow.
And I ended up, that was around 1990, and basically I got to do one record a year for the next 20 years. And I love to write music, so every record I would think about, am I going to use Billy Hart on this one? Let me write some tunes that Billy would sound good on, or
right.
Steve Slagle's going to be on this. Let me write something in that vein, or Adam Nussbaum's on this, and then I got to do that. I got to do organ trio records. I did a big band record. I did all kinds of different projects. This thing called Blue to the Bone 4-horn band, and so over a course of 20 years, that's how it became added up to about 30 records now. And about 10 years ago, I started my own label, Strike Zone Records, and because I'd done so many records for other labels and things, I realized, I just want to control everyget and do it right.
Right,
and,
right.
I'll pay for everything, and I'll also
you own everything.
Whatever money's to be made, I'll get it myself. That's
really
been great.
cool.
I've been because I've been able to get my music out to people, and that's what you want to do as a musician. To play it on radio stations so people hear it.
That's
and that
right.
can hopefully lead to getting calls to do festivals, or maybe do the Monterey Festival, or I was booked to do that before this hit, and hopefully they'll reschedule that, or Newport, or
right,
Europe, or maybe some clinics, some college things. This is how just you got to keep it happening. And
you got
having a record out always has been for me a way to keep my music out there, and a way to stay busy and employed.
Right. Yeah. Stay.
And then the teaching thing is on
the side.
On the side, yeah.
Supporting too.
Although it's not really on the side. It takes a lot of time now.
That's true. Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I enjoy doing it.
That's really cool. I mean, you're sharing with the cats, and I mean, man, thanks so much for sharing some of the stories as far as like how just how to. How you just have to jump, like you jumped into like, I want to do this, I want to do this record and call these people.
I had the same, like I said, when I made those cassettes and sent them out, that was a few years of like, rejection or not even rejection, just
No answer.
nothing.
Nothing.
And
Right.
and so you have to be prepared for that in this business too.
That's
Like
true.
trying to get gigs in New York, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but if you stick at it long enough, and like I said, if you've got your own thing, and you know,
Man,
eventually it can lead, things can start happening.
definitely. I think if anything, that's one of the things I've learned too here. It's not like a fast track over here. It's the long run. But let me ask you something real quick before we listen to one more tune. Uh, knowing that you put out 30 records out as a leader, um, can you shed some light on 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 the process of picking the band for that specific record? Is that I mean, just doing so many albums, and I'm asked, this is probably like a personal question too. I'm thinking about recording an album pretty soon. Be my first album. So I use these interviews too to to get the answers. But I'm sure there's also a lot of people that are thinking the same thing. But like you obviously you want to play with the with the baddest cats, right? You want to hire the baddest cats and all that, but then I also want to play with guys that I know they're gonna be available, and also guys that really like my music and that they. Can you shed some light on your process of taking those decisions of this album? I'm gonna have this guys because, or I'm gonna write for this guys and all that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like I said, in the last 10 years, I've been with my own label. I've kind of had my working band on a lot of these projects. McClenny and Jared have been on most of them, and I have a percussionist, Myra Casals. She's also on a lot of things. And then I had that would be the core group. So on these 8-track projects, right? I did 3 8-track records now: 8-track 1, 2, and 3, and a Christmas 8-track record. And but I've had vibraphones on there. So Stefan Harris has been the vibraphonist, and so and on one of them I had Steve Nelson.
Oh, nice.
And Warren Wolf also plays with us. So that's kind of a cool sound to have guitar and vibes and organ and drums. It's a little bit different than like that tenor sound.
Right.
And then this last record, of course, with Walter, went back and had the tenor. But the idea is, it's an interesting thing. Like if you can get, some of the, established players that you really love, and you have the budget or whatever, that's one way to go. The other way to go is to have a working band, like and a lot of times your working band is going to be killer anyway. So
yeah,
I would say go with that. If you can, if you got guys that are know your music and are in your corner, and for instance, that's why I don't switch up my band with. I keep McClenny and Jared. I use them pretty much on everything. Although then I did that WDR big band. That was, of course, something completely different with the Cologne Orchestra. And I have a project that I'm very excited about, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna record the beginning of June. I've been writing all new music for it for about the last 8 months.
Yeah.
And I've got a guy I'm collaborating with, a piano player named Julian Shore, who's a really outstanding player and arranger. And I'd heard some of his recordings where he had strings and string quartet. And I said, it's always been a dream of mine to do something with strings.
For strings.
So he's taken my music and arranged it for string quartet. So jazz quartet with string quartet.
Wow.
And I've got like an amazing band. Julian's piano, and I'll play on guitar. And I'm going to be making the announcement of who I've got at some point. Not tonight.
Oh man, I was wait, like right now or?
No, I mean I'm on social media. You'll see it, but it's incredible.
Man,
I'm just very excited. Yeah.
that's really cool. So these are, just to clarify, these are tunes that you just wrote for this ensemble, for this, and then they've been for this project then been arranged for strings, or these are some older tunes in the
I
range.
wrote the tunes and I demoed them out and I wrote these tunes and then I sent those to Julian
And
and
he
let him
arranged
do
it.
his thing to them.
Yeah,
And just like I did with Bob, you know, the thing is if you it does it here's a word I that's fun to use, behooves. How often do you get to use that word? It behooves you to pick great players to play with you because it makes
the music.
life so much easier.
That's
Then
true.
all you got to worry about is yourself. Like when I have Jared and McClenny, you heard that a minute ago. I just got to worry about dealing with that tempo myself. Their stuff is going to be cooking, and I know
Right.
that. And the same thing. So like that's why I said, Julian, let me. This guy is incredible. Let me give it to him and see what he does with it, man. And he demoed these out with these. It's going to be great, man.
Man.
We're getting closer to doing it, and yeah, it's that'll be coming next year.
Next year.
Yeah, but I'll be making an announcement soon about it.
Not tonight, right?
Not tonight. I'm
Just
not ready
kidding.
yet. But it's.
No,
Let me just
cool.
put it this way. It's.
You don't have that on.
I got the A team.
Oh, you got the A team. Okay, that's great, man.
The A team.
Hey, I just want to remind people of, we're putting some of the, your links to your website where people can find your music.
Let me. There's if people want to download my music and they actually want to support the artists,
Mm-hmm.
Bandcamp has been a great thing in the last few years because the artists. That's one way we can still make some money in this business. Where, if you feel better, then we all have Spotify now and
Right.
everything. But if you feel like helping out an artist, go to Bandcamp. So it would just be my name, Dave Stryker. .bandcamp.com, and all my stuff is on there from my label,
Nice.
and you can download it that way. And also, yeah, like you mentioned, DaveStryker.com.
Yeah.
I have a website, and you can order physical CDs off of there too.
Yeah, we're just dropping the links for Bandcamp right now, and people checking it out. Both in YouTube, we always do these live streams on YouTube and Facebook, so people can just click on that. And if you like some of the music you're checking out tonight, make sure to do it that way. And I think if anything, that's what Bandcamp has been a friend to artists. So if you like the music you hear, you want to support the artist, like Dave was saying, make sure to do it through Bandcamp, and a higher percentage of the money is going to the artist. So
Or buy directly from the artist.
Even
on their
better.
Websites or, I know most people don't have CD players anymore, but I still do.
how about
That's-
cassettes, man? Do you have some of those? Maybe.
I got some 8-tracks around here if you want to see those.
Well, the thing now is LPs too, man. Are you putting any LPs? Oh, oh no, Dave. Oh.
Here's an 8-track.
Oh wow, look at that. Wow. Dave Stryker. Wow, look at that. Do you have a player?
Oh, you're gonna make me get my.
Check that out. Check it out, man. You can also buy some 8-track. Wow. I have not seen one of those in a long. Is that a video video game console or something? It looks like maybe it's a video player console or something.
Check this out, man.
Oh, Stevie Wonder. Holy moly. Man.
Yeah, this is actually like a portable. This was a big deal. Like like you would put this, and when you push this down, it would change the track.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm crazy, man.
Man, it's so crazy. You've seen all the changes, Dave. From
So yes, I do have cassettes too. They're in boxes in the back. It was always fun. When now it's all streams and everything. But
Right. It's
I have I love vinyl. You mentioned vinyl. Yes, I have
vinyl.
one of my. I have a record called "Striking Ahead" with Steve Nelson and McClenty and Jared. That's on vinyl, and I love listening to vinyl. I got the Sonny Rollins three that came out a few months ago of in the '60s in Europe.
Yeah.
A 3 LP set.
Nice.
Right over there. I was listening to it this weekend.
Man.
There's something about putting a record on and putting the needle on, and it's a lot different than just putting a Spotify on. I think
That's right. Yeah.
There's a
the sound too.
Thing there so that's it'll always still be there, you know.
So maybe we'll get a LP limited edition or something on the new stream records. Who knows?
You know, it might happen.
It might happen. So, but better get your record player going. Hey man, we got one tune that that we want to share with our audience that you prepared for us. This is Captain Jack.
Yeah.
You tell about
Captain
that?
Jack that was Jack McDuff's handle, Captain Jack.
Nice.
So this is just a blues that I wrote and named in honor of him.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a good way to close the show, I guess. It's
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
And
let's check it out, and then we'll just.
One thing Jack said, you know, when I was in his band was he said, if you look out in the audience when you're playing and people aren't going like this, he says you're not doing your job. So
it's true.
I think you'll see on this tune you'll hopefully be doing this in front of the computer screen.
I'm not gonna do it just so
I'm not doing my job.
That's what I was just gonna say. I'm gonna resist. No, let's check out. This is Cap Jack from that session too, right? The studio.
It's from the trio record we did last year in the studio, and that'll be out someday.
Yep. So let's check out Cap Jack. Hope you guys. Man, hey, Mr. Dave Stryker, thank you for sharing that. What what a killing tune. Well, thanks for this is the first time that this is out. And
Yeah,
we really
nobody's heard
appreciate.
this yet.
Yeah,
And we were just talking on the break about some strategies about maybe a good way to release a live in the studio kind of thing like this. So we'll be talking about it, and also looking forward to my upcoming project with the string quartet. And
woo.
thanks for having me on, man.
Hey man, thank you so much for sharing your stories, for your time, for sharing your music, and the projects that you have coming up. We certainly are big fans of yours and your music, and so we want to wish you the best success with this new project that you have coming up. And thanks again for being here at the Jazz Exchange, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, you and Candace, and we'll see each other soon.
Sounds good. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and
All right.
we'll see you guys on the next one. All right.